What's up, guys? CJ here, and welcome back to another all-new episode of Super Friends number 85. I am your host. I just said my name was CJ, and I'm joined by the usual suspects, Luke and Tim. How are you doing today, guys?
I'll go first on that. I'm doing fine. Just not looking forward to getting up at 5:30 to work tomorrow.
That's the rough life. I guess that's.
Yeah.
The slave drivers over.
I mean,
at
it's
Starbucks.
not a long shift that I'm doing. Just it sucks having to get ready for 5:30.
Yeah, I really, there are not many things that I hate more than waking up early. There are very, very few things that top that list. I just cannot stand it. I'm not a morning person.
CJ, you ready to wake up at 5 every day at SDCC?
Hopefully we aren't going to have to. At NYCC, we had to wake up at 5 because we had to drive, 2.5 hours the first day, and then we had an hour and a half metro ride. At SDCC, we're going to be a 15-minute walk from the convention hall. So hopefully I don't have to drag my ass out of bed at 5 in the morning. But
so you're saying 5:30? Yeah.
That's a little bit. I mean, marginally better, but that's a little. I mean, because we're going to be getting really, really trashed every night, too. So I'm looking after my own mental health here. But Luke, speaking of that, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Today was a nice day. Got some errands done, getting shit ready for my master's program coming up in
Very
fall.
nice. Very nice.
All
What are you
right.
studying for your? Is it like the master's? It's like a master's degree in golf, or
Yes.
yes,
I'm
Master's
going to school
degree.
for golf.
in mixing Arnold Palmers.
Yes.
That's what my
Anyway.
master's degree is in. As you can tell, probably not the smoothest beginning to this podcast, but we actually do have a lot of good topics to talk about today. Wonder Woman, of course, came out last weekend. I guess before we dive right in, I, to my shame, still have not seen it. This weekend ended up being a lot crazier than I expected with apartment hunting, so I just have not gotten the chance yet. Did either of you guys see Wonder Woman?
I did not see it. As I stated last week, I wouldn't be able to.
Damn, Luke,
And I still have seen it.
you still have?
Yes.
That's right. You did the
Luke
reviews.
did our review for it.
We don't need his
I was
opinion.
I was the first one on the channel. I think, am I the only one on
Might
the
be
channel?
the
to
only
see
one
it?
to have seen it so far. I don't.
No, you're definitely not. I know others have seen it, but
Will
'cause I
and
think they
Josh,
talked
I
about it
think.
on. Did they not talk about it on hybrid movies? I figured that was one of the topics this week, but
I don't even remember frickin' last video I've done, CJ, let alone
it's
hybrid
okay.
movies.
It's okay. Believe me, I'm right there with you. But we're actually going to talk about a little bit about Wonder Woman's box office from this weekend and some interesting things happening with the sequel. But first, we're going to jump past Wonder Woman and talk a little bit about Justice League. Now, we talked about this in the H&N on Tuesday. If you've seen that or left me an angry comment, take this report with a grain of salt. As I said, it's an unconfirmed report. I'm presenting it to you not as fact, but as possibility, and that's exactly what I'm doing here again. Now, this comes to us from Jet Ramsey over at BatmanOnFilm.com. It's a report from, as he says, a 100% vetted and more than reliable source, in his words. And this has to do with the Justice League reshoots. Now, this has been a much ballyhooed topic, basically since Batman v Superman came out. Like, what's Justice League gonna look like? And especially in the last couple of weeks after Zack Snyder left the project and Joss Whedon took over the additional photography and kind of overseeing the post-production process leading up to the film's release later this year in November. Now, what does Jet have to say about these reshoots? And before I dive in, again, take it with a grain of salt. I'm presenting this to you as a report, not as gospel. Not even, anything other. I'm basically just laying it out there. You can believe it, you can not believe it, and please let us know either way in the comment section down below. But without further ado, Batman on Film, their sources are saying that the reshoots on Justice League, they're underway right now in London, something backed up by Henry Cavill's Instagram posts. They're significant, according to this report. They're expected to go through not only this month, and we're still in the beginning of this month, but not only this month, not only next month, but also potentially into August. So that's 2 full months of reshoots, maybe into a third. So, as he notes in this article, that goes well beyond your standard additional photography. Because I had a lot of comments on the H&N about that. Every movie goes through reshoots. Every movie does this. Every movie does pickups. Your usual pickups don't take 3 months to shoot. So if that's the case, then this is a pretty significant portion. Once again, that requires this report to be true, which we don't know. And he says this involves every member of the Justice League. But it's worth noting the source is also extremely optimistic. They think there's some good stuff going on. Their source seems to be inside the production, or somehow has knowledge of that and knowledge of what they're doing. But without guys, first things first, Luke. Actually, I'm gonna ask you first. What do you think of what do you make of this report? I guess first, do you buy it?
Yeah, I don't know. The whole subject of reshoots has been like a big thing for a while. Remember we talked about this on the last Super Friends too. So
it was a few Super Friends ago.
Many Super Friends. I don't even remember, but
they all blur together just like they do for the audience.
If they're like really significant, and the movie is a few months away, like, this isn't like a normal thing, huh? Like, is this happen often, or?
I mean, reshoots happen for every movie.
Reshoots happen, but like the guy is saying they're like significant.
It's not. Something like this would be uncommon. Yes, it would be if it's literally 2.5 months of additional photography. That suggests that's essentially almost as long as production on a normal film. I mean, they just finished production on Predator. That was 16 months long. That's more, or 16 weeks long, not 16 months long. Jesus Christ, 16 weeks long.
Those wouldn't even be close numbers if that were the case.
16. It's 16 weeks long. That's about 4 months. So this being like 2 full months, maybe into a third month, is a little over half of the normal production of a movie. So if that correlates to screen time, which it doesn't necessarily, that could be they're reshooting half of the movie. Superman being in there, as Cavill's Instagram post would suggest, kind of maybe makes me think it's largely the third act. But
perhaps
once again, that's pure speculation. But no, I don't. I think it would go, if it is 3 months. And once again, I stress this is not confirmed. If this report is accurate, this goes beyond the pale. This is above and beyond the extent of normal, standard, everyday reshoots.
It would be hilarious though if they were reshooting the entire third act and it still ended up being the DC traditional third act mess.
Well, I'm really interested in what exactly they're going to be doing in that third act, what they're reshooting, what they're potentially trying to fix. I mean, of course, we have zero idea. It's going to involve Steppenwolf, we know that for sure.
And his swinging axe.
I mean,
his axe that he likes to swing.
Well, I mean, like, I wonder if there's maybe like a figure of Wonder Woman having something to do with this, because a lot of people really liked Wonder Woman. I wonder if they're looking at that and thinking, okay, so Wonder Woman's doing really good. This third act is still a problem, so maybe take some elements that people are liking about Wonder Woman, maybe apply that to Justice League. Maybe that can fix what we have so far. Not saying the movie's broken, I'm just saying that maybe they're looking at Wonder Woman and taking some notes from them to maybe improve Justice League a little bit. I don't know if that's
more
how
sniper towers.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how this kind of stuff works, but I mean, this is coming like after Wonder Woman's had like a lot of success and has kind of gone past projected earnings and stuff. So,
which we are going to talk about in a little bit. But
yep.
Justice League now with
that with it, but I'm going to stand by what I said last time we talked about this. Whether or not it goes through reshoots doesn't matter. Like, all it's going to do is we're going to have a different product, an end product, than we would have had before, but we have no way of knowing if we'd be better or worse.
That's a good point. It is essentially like a lot of talk about nothing. It's, fugazi. It's just basically something that we're talking about to talk about. And I'm not saying that like, oh, we're talking about it to talk about it, like to fill time, because no, I think the report I'm talking about it because I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of a follow-up to some stuff that we've been hearing really for months. But what it is exactly, we're just going to have to wait and see. He actually did... Jet did post a follow-up report just a couple of days later, I think. Let me double-check. Yeah, just a couple of days later, and said basically... he basically, did acknowledge that he's come under fire, and he basically just defended the report and said... essentially kind of doubling down and saying that a lot of the reshoots that people report already happened during the course of regular filming, like because they were changing the script pretty massively after the effect of after kind of the box office and critical reception of Batman v Superman. And that they're undergoing massive additional photography. Like I said, double down, triple down, whatever you want to call this. They are not shying away from this report. So take that as you will. Let us know what you think about the Justice League reshoots in the comment section down below. But speaking of the future of the DCEU, and Justice League is, of course, the next movie in that future, we have two stories here, actually from the same Hollywood Reporter article. First, though, we're going to talk about the next films, coming from WB. And a lot of what happens is probably going to depend on Justice League. But in this article about Patty Jenkins not being signed for a Wonder Woman sequel, which we'll talk about next, they kind of casually slipped in, THR did, that Justice League Dark and Batgirl are the two movies that the studio is looking to put into production next, which probably comes as more than a little bit of a surprise. Justice League Dark, because they just lost director Doug Liman, which maybe suggests the script was farther along than we knew about. And Batgirl, because one, that's a pretty recent development, but also it was, I think, originally talked about as, maybe someday. It's a Batgirl movie. We've got Joss Whedon attached to it. It was one of these nebulous DC films, not something like the Batman, which was, reportedly being scripted and had, some semblance of a cast. Maybe this is a sign that they're really confident in Joss Whedon, and they really like him, and they really like what he's planning to do with this additional photography. Tim, which of these two surprises you more, Justice League Dark or Batgirl?
Justice League Dark, just because as of right now, they still have exactly what they had when they announced the movie.
That's true,
we don't even have an actor attached to it like we have with Shazam with The Rock.
That's true. Although The Rock, being attached to Shazam was something I think they had to stake out way in advance. I think they saw the way that they saw the lay of the land, and they said, look, this guy's going to get, he's going to get picked up by somebody. We better be the ones to kind of stake him out.
Batgirl doesn't surprise me just because Joss Whedon had just recently become active in DC's production side, taking over the post of Justice League, so it makes sense that they'd work off of that and do his movie next.
That's true. Luke, which of these two surprises you most?
They're both kind of equally surprising, I guess. I figured Batgirl would be something that would happen later on down the road, but I guess like Tim said, he is pretty into the production side right now with everything he's doing for Justice League, so I guess that makes sense. Justice League Dark, I don't know. I just kept thinking that they were just going to forget about that movie, but I guess
I preferred it as whispers in the wind. Now that it's becoming more real, I don't know how to feel.
I don't know how to take it. I was more on board when it was a mystery as to whether it would come out. Now that I know for sure,
the illusion's been shattered.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of I think I side a little bit more with Tim maybe in the fact that Justice League Dark, kind of is the surprising one. I get why they would. Man, maybe this is just bluster, so they have legs for their potentially inevitable lawsuit against Universal over the name Dark Universe. But it's one of those things where it was announced, and it was announced with Guillermo del Toro, and then Guillermo del Toro left, and then they hired Doug Liman, and Doug Liman was working on it, and then Doug Liman dropped out, and that was 2 weeks ago, and yet here we are. Like, they're saying Dark Universe. They're saying Justice League Dark is going to be really their one of their next tentpole projects. Batgirl is surprising to me just because, hey, we haven't gotten the Batman movie yet, and it's not necessarily a requirement. It's just if you ask me what order would I put those movies in terms of coming out chronologically, I definitely would have said Batman. Not only because Batgirl is a character that kind of stems from that, but because Batman has more. I don't want to say more production already done on it. Is probably the best way I can put that. But who knows? This might, as the article kind of notes, this might be because, Wonder Woman has been a lot more successful than they initially anticipated. So maybe both of these movies come out in 2019. Maybe they don't. Who knows? Speaking of Wonder Woman, though, I guess we're going to kind of bounce right off of that topic. Actually, no. Going back to that topic. No. I'm changing my mind, damn it.
I don't expect them to be in 2019 because they still have to do Aquaman and the Flash.
That's true. Actually, see, The Flash is another one where is that even really, because that's Aquaman's in production. The Flash is kind of another movie that's nebulous and not really even in production yet.
Yeah.
The Flash at least has something.
That's true.
It's
it
not
does.
firing with blanks like Justice League Dark is.
That's basically true.
I don't know. I can see these happening before Flash, but
Yeah, I think Flash is
potentially
probably
at
happening
this
after
point,
these.
yeah, but I think they might still try getting the Flash out before them.
I feel like they want to do the Flash. I feel like they want things to line up perfectly with the Flash. Anyone wants that to happen, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think that they're really going to be pushing to get it done as soon as possible. I feel like the Flash with like the TV show and everything, they kind of want this to be done in a good way. So I can see them pushing that back a little farther.
I actually kind of agree with that. I think it's going to be one of those things where if it falls together, it falls together, but they're not going to rush it, which I think is the best way to handle it. Because the worst thing for you in this situation is saying, "Hey, this ended up worse than the TV show." That's something you don't want fans saying. That's
exactly.
the worst
I
case
think we'll
scenario.
get a new slate at SDCC finally.
I think we will, actually, especially because we're going to be...
if I want to be completely honest, I just want them to say, our movies will come out when they come out, and then they leave. I don't want a new slate. I'm tired of seeing dates that may or may not happen.
I want them to announce 5 more movies with nebulous dates.
Yeah,
they've already done that.
I'm just tired of
5
seeing
more.
dates that may or may not happen. Just tell me movies are coming, and I'll be like, all right, cool.
I mean, I think we are. And the reason I think we are is because Wonder Woman has been way more successful than anybody really anticipated. I mean, there were a lot of people optimistically saying, oh, over 100 million. But I think anybody that was eyeing it, I don't want to say critically, but eyeing it maybe objectively, was thinking... I honestly didn't think it was going to break 100 million. I was guessing somewhere like 90 million, but, it broke 100 million. Critically, it's been way more successful than I would have guessed. It's kind of become a little bit of a phenomenon at this point, and I think riding that wave, I think we're going to get way more announcements soon, just to capitalize on this success, to maybe even kind of safeguard against Justice League not being a hit. That's... You got to you got to fuel the hype train before it gets derailed, and I think that's probably in their best interest. But speaking of Wonder Woman's success and the fact that nobody really saw it coming, I guess you know what? Let's flip these around the box office, because this is gonna, I guess, it kind of leads better into this whole thing about Patty Jenkins. Wonder Woman's box office completely took the world by storm last weekend, opening with $103 million. Now that was actually almost $40 full million above the projected $65 million, which was kind of really shocking. And actually, I'm going to go double check the Rotten Tomatoes score, but I think it's still sitting at like a 93, which is even more astonishing, because I think if you had asked me to bet on it, I would have definitely put somewhere in like maybe the 70 or 80 range. But the fact that it's sitting at 93 with 7.6 out of 10 on that average rating. What do you guys make of this? What do you guys think about this positive reaction to Wonder Woman? I think it's fantastic. But Luke, having seen the movie, did you expect that it was going to open this big?
I don't feel as strongly as other people do about it, but after seeing like the movie itself, a part of me was just, yeah, I can see this movie doing a lot. And yeah, so I mean, I'm not like too surprised by it. I'm happy for it, of course, that it's doing so well. Like, there's just elements in it that I think really speak to the really would speak to the audience overall, and I guess just the overall message of it, I think, really kind of resonated with people enough to where everybody wants to go see it. So I'm happy for it. I am glad.
I see a lot of people,
because I think it deserves it.
I see a lot of people citing like the hope, and it's like this hopefulness, the hopefulness of the movie, and kind of being very Donner-esque in a way.
I guess I'll put it this way: it does what I really feel like Man of Steel should have brought to the table, or what I guess Man of Steel wanted to bring to the table,
which is,
hope.
Oh, well, there we go.
A character to look up to and be inspired by. Because, like, Wonder Woman in this movie, she's a very inspiring character. Like, you actively see her inspiring people to do stuff that they never would have thought they would do in the movie. And I think that really kind of resonated with people enough to where they wanted to go see it. And, I mean, it's a good movie even around that. So, I think I'm happy for it. I think it deserves all of this.
She's the star-spangled woman with a plan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tim, are you surprised at all by it opening this big, this being this successful, kind of resonating with audiences in a way that I don't even think DC thought it was going to do?
I mean, I can understand it doing as well as it did, just because even the DC movies so far that haven't been good have done financially well. With one that getting such good word of mouth that this is the one that fixes everything, guys. I'm not surprised that it did well. Admittedly, it did a bit better than I thought it was going to do. I thought it would get near 100 mil, not go over it, maybe 95 for the opening. Just because of Wonder Woman's not as notable as Batman or Superman, even though she's part of the Trinity.
And even though she's been around, almost as long.
Almost as long as yeah.
She had a TV show and everything, but again, Tim's right. She's not hugely popular.
And I was shocked.
She's more popular than any of the Marvel heroes that have been in the MCU so far.
That's true.
But
compared to the other movies DC's done so far, outside of Suicide Squad, which had the Joker as a marketing push,
Exactly.
There's really of the four of them, it's the least notable property.
That's true.
Did you say Suicide Squad?
I said suicide, but okay.
I thought you said Suicide Squad. I was like, that's really funny. I never thought of that.
Either works. Works.
Well, now it works, sure.
There you go. Tim's like, yeah, I said it.
I still haven't gotten to, like I said at the beginning, I haven't gotten to see the movie. I didn't have anyone to go with this weekend for it. I still may not see it this weekend. I mean, I ended up not seeing Logan at any point, so it wouldn't be surprising on my end.
Which is just, shocking and bizarre. But, one of the things that I want to point out with Wonder Woman is one of the things that, it's not like I was thinking, oh, DC movie, it's going to suck, the box office is going to be terrible. It wasn't that. Like I said, I was thinking somewhere in the 90 million range for a lot of reasons these guys just said. But I just saw so many people saying things like they were talking to people that just weren't interested in seeing it. They just didn't want to see it, and part of it, I think, was that it was, it's a female character. I think part of, I think there, let's be honest, there are a lot of guys out there that wouldn't go see a movie because of that. And I think that's a really shitty thing. And I can't say how many times I saw people saying that they had run into people saying things like that. I didn't see much of that out there personally, so it was all secondhand reports. People can make shit up. But there was enough of that out there that I was like, man, this is, I really hope it doesn't tank for that reason. And I'm really glad that it didn't. Because that would have been a shitty way for things to go down. But any final thoughts on the Wonder Woman box office before we get to a surprising update that might shock some people, especially after we just talk about it being as successful as it was?
Nothing really on the box office, but I am happy that I properly predicted that, yes, she does in fact beat the shit out of a building in that movie.
Yay!
Yep. And based on people who I know who have seen it, it seems like what I assumed the movie would be quality-wise is around what it is. I thought it would be Captain America First Avenger quality of movie, even if it's not... They have similarities, but I just mean quality-wise.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's how people have said that it stacks up compared to other movies, and that's what I thought it would be when I heard the buzz about it.
So it's kind of enjoyable.
Yeah.
Maybe not Citizen Kane, but
I'm sure people will like it more or less than First Avenger, but it's just in that range. What it seems like.
Yeah. But kind of building off of that, as we said, $103 million domestic opening weekend, $250 million made at this point, and there's a pretty surprising, shocking twist about a potential Wonder Woman sequel that I don't think anybody saw coming, especially after initial reports indicated that, hey, Patty and Gal are contractually obligated for number 2, so expect that to happen. Turns out half of that statement is incorrect. Gal Gadot does have a studio option for a second film. Patty Jenkins does not. Patty Jenkins is actually also not signed for a sequel at this time. But before you start panicking, setting things on fire, and shredding all of your documents, doing whatever you have to do, believe it or not, the studio's probably going to start negotiating with her very, very soon. Of course, as we said, $103 million opening weekend. Your movie's one of the highest rated superhero films ever on Rotten Tomatoes. I think you're coming back for a sequel if you really want to. And I think Patty Jenkins definitely would really want to. Are you guys surprised at all that she wasn't signed for a sequel?
No, not really. DC has sort of had a shifting scale of directors throughout their pre-production of all these movies so far, so it didn't seem like they were that attached to anyone until they've proven themselves.
That's true. I kind of agree. I mean, but one of those things is, in reading some of the reports, and I thought it was really interesting, Patty was really, really open and honest with the process and how she's wanted to make a Wonder Woman movie for years, and kind of the way she backed that up, because usually you hear directors say that and you roll your eyes and you're like, but she followed that up with, more or less her saying, I didn't like it when Gal was cast, because she didn't think Gal was right for the part, but basically she signed on and Gal definitely proved her wrong. And I was like, okay, if you're going to say that, I kind of believe you. I kind of believe you're telling the truth about this. But I'm at least a little surprised that they don't have her signed on already, because that just seems like the way these movies go. It seems like they lock people up for usually actors, but it seems like directors are usually are ending up in that same vein too. But, and who knows, after, it's one of those things where, it's like signing a guy to a 1-year contract in the NFL and then he balls out. It's like you're not going to get him for the same price next year, I guarantee. Patty's going to be charging a lot more now than she probably would have then. But good for Patty. Go get paid.
Well, that might also lead to their hesitance of bringing her back, since they didn't have the foresight to sign her onto the next movie.
That's potentially a thing. I wouldn't, hype that, but
I mean, that's speculation. There's nothing backing that. It's just throwing an idea out there.
Tim has sources. Tim's sources are telling him.
My vetted sources are telling me this.
There you go. Luke, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm sure she will come back. So there you go.
Actually, I'm going to play a fun little game here where we play, put a percentage point on that.
So bad with numbers. 98% she'll come back.
Tim?
107. No. Damn it, no.
That's not how percentage works.
99%.
I
just
do,
to piss me off.
83, I guess.
83. I'll go 90 because it's going to happen, but it's, I think there's a slim chance that Patty rolls out a figure that DC and WB don't want to pay, like Kirk Cousins. Sign the damn contract already, man. But moving back into the realm of comics and not the realm of DC sports, which is going to make me cry. Wonder Woman was the gift that kept on giving, both for DC and WB and Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot and us, because we got a brand spanking new DC intro that showed off a whole lot. This intro was spectacular. Now you're sitting here wondering, oh, how did you and Tim see this intro? Because you didn't go see Wonder Woman yet, and the answer is because the internet. Luke, did they show the intro before your screening, or was that something that they kept under wraps until the premiere?
I didn't even know about the intro until I went and saw the movie. They played it like before the actual movie started. Like they played it like an official intro and everything. So, I mean, again, I didn't even know about it until I went and saw the movie.
Wait,
so
was it the screening, or like have you gone to see it twice?
It was at the screening.
Oh, see, that was what I was asking. I was wondering, if it was something that they were keeping under wraps until.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry. I should have said that.
Weekend.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
no, you're good.
Yeah, so I guess that none of us knew about it until Wonder Woman first started screening, and people had like the screenshots or video or whatever they had of it.
There was a report, I think. It was weeks ago, but there was a report that it was going to have a new intro or something like that. I think it came out of the first critics screening, I think. And it was just in passing. I think it was one of the guys from comicbook.com. I think it was Brandon Davis from comicbook.com that actually first kind of reported that. So shout out to that guy. But I completely read that and then just dismissed it. I was like, oh, cool, new intro. And then when we finally got to see it, because the magic of the internet, it is spectacular. It is, I think, probably my favorite studio intro going right now, because, maybe of all time. I mean, the Marvel, the classic Marvel one is, of course, an iconic, but this one, it hits on so many levels. We see a lot of these heroes. I think it sends, the right tone that DC really probably wants to capture, that I think a lot of fans want to see. And it also pays a little homage to the old Justice League Unlimited intro. I saw somebody did a shot-by-shot comparison. It's pretty close. And it's pretty spectacular. Luke, what do you think about this new intro? And am I stupid for being so excited about this?
I don't know, man. I don't know how it compares to Columbia Pictures intro.
Oh, you're correct. The Jerry Bruckheimer lightning tree. That's the classic.
The lightning
The DreamWorks fishing on the moon.
I can at least say I like it more than Bad Robot. But
oh,
Pixar, bro.
Robot.
But it's cool. I think it's a cool trailer. Like, I know because we did our own videos on it, like showing all the heroes and villains in it, and
we're trying.
Yeah, trying to do it. But I think the big consensus with a lot of people for a while is that these are characters that are like being looked at for the DCEU. I just think that they're just characters that they pulled because it's DC Comics. Because like it wasn't for like DC films; it was like a intro for like DC Comics, and I don't know. Like I don't really see getting like a whole lot of those characters because Spectre is in the background, and I don't know if we'll see Spectre at any time soon. I just think it's a way to like show that this is a comic book property. You have a bunch of characters. Here are those characters. I don't think it's a guarantee that we're going to be seeing these in the movies. I think it's just because like in the old Marvel comics, like the old Marvel logo, they were just like pages, and they just had characters from those pages. It wasn't a guarantee that those characters would show up. Just showing that, hey, this is a comic book property.
Well, thanks, Luke. Now I want to kill myself. Tim?
Okay. I mean, I think that they're going to at least attempt to get these characters into their universe, but I don't expect all of them. Like, I don't expect Cyborg Superman to show up.
No, and actually, so I have a clarification on that, and I was wondering whether or not I was going to mention this. That wasn't Cyborg Superman. It did look like Cyborg Superman. It was actually, and you guys saw, it looks like Cyborg Superman from a distance. Apparently, it was just Cyborg. And I don't want to say just Cyborg like that. I'm not trying to throw shade.
He's not super at all.
Wait, are you talking about the one by Catwoman?
Yeah, apparently that's Cyborg.
Oh, I thought you were talking about someone else. I was like, oh yeah, that is just Cyborg.
I was like, ugh.
I thought that you were seeing something I wasn't seeing somewhere in there.
But that made me so hype. Like I was doing that video, it's like, man, I was really, really excited about Cyborg Superman.
Yeah, we were working off of a pretty unclear image of that. But,
blurry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Originally, I was like, somebody commented and they were like, "That's just Cyborg, dude," and I was like, "I don't believe you. I'm gonna have to go watch Wonder Woman and find out for myself." And then I took a closer look at it, and I was like, "Wait, Cyborg's got to be in there somewhere. Where is he?" And I didn't see him, and I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I made the same mistake you did, but even like a few of them, I don't expect all of them to show up. Like, wasn't Grundy in that opening too?
He was way on the right. Him and Atrocitus and Sinestro and
like Atrocitus and Sinestro, I can see. I can't see them working Grundy in unless they specifically do Legion of Doom.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
I mean, I want them to do that. I don't expect them to.
Looked like Metallo at one point. I think was in there. Parasite was in there, or not? Captain Atom was in there at one point too.
I always get those two confused: Parasite and Captain Atom.
I think for some reason they're in my mind because of Kingdom Come. But regardless, it was just a great intro, and I think Luke, as much as it pains me to admit, ultimately you're right. I think the look of these characters is going to come down to every individual movie and what the director wants and what the studio wants. And the inclusion of certain characters is basically going to come down to the same thing. I think it was essentially a really nice teaser to let you know that, hey, all these characters are on the table, hypothetically.
All these movies coming to you, we're announcing them right here in front of Wonder Woman.
In 2019.
Solomon Grundy, 2023.
Mogo solo film, 2019.
Yeah, Mogo was in there too, Jesus. I'm really hoping that he's in Green Lantern. What does Mogo identify as? But I just love the intro. It did feel more like a DC Comics intro, though, as you said, which I feel like, honestly, is why I loved it. And I think that's why a lot of people were so excited for it. But any final thoughts on that new DC intro before I move on to a couple of viewer questions?
It's cool.
It's cool. Cool. All right, guys, let us know your thoughts on the new DC intro in the comment section down below. Are you as hyped for it as I am? As hyped for it as I was, I guess.
Before Luke destroyed all hope.
Sad
I've said
music
this
plays.
like several times.
The L stands for sadness.
Oh, man. All right, on to some viewer questions. Classy Ulysses asks, since Wonder Woman is out and getting great reviews from everyone, are you guys excited or still optimistic for Justice League? Also, what do you want to see in the next Justice League trailer? And he also was really nice. He signed it. He said, thanks, take care. Thank you, Classy Ulysses, for ending that.
That was very classy.
I will take care, and thank you. This is interesting. So since Wonder Woman is out and getting good reviews, I'm not gonna lie, this has changed how excited I am for Justice League, and the reshoots honestly don't dampen my excitement for the movie at all. I think, like you said, Tim, if it happens, it happens, and we're not gonna know the difference, and we probably never will, unless Zack Snyder publishes like a tell-all memoir,
Or his extended cut.
which we're definitely gonna get. But I am very excited, and what do I want to see in the next Justice League trailer is a really good question. Steppenwolf. Let's just keep it to one thing. But Tim, are you more or less excited for Justice League? And what do you want to see in the next Justice League trailer?
I have the same feelings for Justice League I had before that I had for every other DC movie. I'll judge it when I see it. But, in terms of what I want to see in the Justice League trailer, I either want the CG to be significantly better or significantly worse.
Oh, damn.
I want it to either look realistic or go full PS2. None of the PS3 bullshit they're pulling now.
I feel that.
I either want improvement or steering into the skid, but no trying so hard to not look at your best.
Exactly. I mean, it was really early on, and I think it probably will be improved for sure, and it'll definitely be better when the movie comes out.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm definitely sure that it will, but yeah, I don't. You can tell I was joking on that one, but
/S. You forgot the sarcasm font, but no.
I guess. I honestly don't know what I want to see in the trailer. I'm fine with the contents of the trailer at the moment. So that I don't know if I want anything extra.
Tim's good, thanks. Luke, are you more or less excited? And what do you want in the next Justice League trailer?
I feel the same, because this is not Patty Jenkins. So I have not liked a Zack Snyder directed film in the DC universe beforehand. Wonder Woman does not change that, because Zack Snyder did not direct that. So
Not
I will
Patty Jenks?
judge. I will judge. What did I say?
Not Patty Jenks?
No, you said the right thing. He's just asking not Patty Jenks.
Anyway, not Patty Jenks. Anyway, so Justice League, I will agree with Tim. I will judge it if I see it. But
until that day,
what do I want to see in the trailer? I want Cyborg to look good.
I want him to just be half a face and nothing else.
I want him to be a cube.
he is. He's gonna be like a pair of dice on the Batmobile windshield.
The fuzzy cyborg dice of justice.
Exactly.
Yes.
But
Can I tell you actually what I've changed my answer. I do want to see Steppenwolf, but what I don't want to see is Superman.
I agree.
Get that asshole out of here.
I want Doomsday. Throw him in the trailer. Revival.
Doomsday 2018. But all right,
Yeah.
he's running in a midterm election or something. On to our next question. Jacob Benton asks, which is your favorite DCAU series or film? And Tim, I know you have an answer for this one.
Yep. My favorite DCAU series is the combination Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. If you saw when I posted my favorite comic book animated series list, that was number one on there. And it's still probably to this day my favorite animated series. And my favorite movie is Return of the Joker.
So good. So good. Luke?
For me personally, Static Shock, I think, is my favorite DCAU series. And in terms of film, Flashpoint film is really good, so I think I'll just go with that.
But it's not in the DCAU.
I thought he just said DC animated film.
No, it was the DCAU series or film.
Well, I guess he just... Fuck, I don't like any of the DC animated films. Fuck, I don't know. Mask of the Phantasm is good.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So there's
But I'll
my answer
say
for
Flashpoint
film.
anyway, because I like that more.
It's connected if you believe hard enough, and somewhere Marvel Luke just got the shit triggered out of him. So Mask of the Phantasm is actually also my favorite DCAU film. Favorite series is tough. I mean, it's really like a toss-up between Batman the Animated Series and Justice League Unlimited. Just because going back now, I really enjoy Batman the Animated Series, but it's like at the time when I was a kid, I just have really fond memories of Justice League Unlimited. So I'm going to split the difference and say both. But no, I'm kidding. Probably Batman the Animated Series, because I was going to say a purist, but I like the classics. Play the hits for me, and I'm happy.
The new Batman Adventures CJ likes.
Batman
What,
the
no
Brave
one's
and the
going to give a
Bold?
shout out to the Zeta Project?
Yes.
I wanted to say the Zeta Project, but I also couldn't remember the name, so I couldn't.
Well, with that, please continue to submit your questions. Just type in that little comment box down below, hashtag AskSuperFriends, and then your question. We ask you to use the hashtag because it makes it much easier for us to find. We answer most of the questions we're given. This week was a little bit different because we had so many topics, could only answer 2. But please, usual weeks are not this news heavy, so please go ahead and hit us up with your questions, and odds are we'll answer them on the show. But that's actually going to do it for us here. Tim, Luke, any final thoughts?
Go Joe. I don't know.
What? Who's Joe?
Whatever.
No, I'm good.
You're good. Luke spoke for you with that one.
Yeah. Go Joe. What more can you say?
Like Joe West.
G.I. Joe.
It's
CJ.
Yo-Joe.
Giojo. All right.
I say Go Joe.
I do have
Jojo.
some final thoughts. Just one little final thing, actually. Huge shout out to the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad in Pakistan. They're holding their Americomic-Con this weekend, which I just think is the coolest thing. So huge shout out to any of our people over, any of our people serving over there, in the embassy or around the embassy, working for, who are going to be attending this cool Americomic-Con. And a huge shout out to the U.S. Embassy for actually going ahead and putting that on. Just really, really cool. So that's actually going to do it for us here for Luke and Tim. This has been Super Friends number 85.
But where
My
can
name
we
is
find
CJ.
us on social media?
You're right, Nick was going to yell at me if I forgot that. You can find me at CJ Pascal. You can find Luke.
I am at Baron_Zemo1 on Twitter.
And Tim.
I am at Aussie Dragoon.
And you can find us at all of those places. Please do so Nick doesn't yell at me. This has been episode 85 of the Super Friends podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Later.